Hi there. So one of the chances of going live is that you end up showing everybody a lot more of your office than you like. And right now, our farm is a work in progress. And so my office is in the dining room. It's a section of the dining room. We have an open concept house. And I've decided to record the intro video for my office rather than outside. I'm working on some mic equipment to make it easier to hear outside. The downside to talking about horses is you generally need to do it outside, and that can make some of the technical side a little more difficult. So I want to find a really good mic so you can be able to hear me. So you get to see a little bit of the mess in the dining room and a little bit of the mess on my desk. And there's a possibility that we could get interrupted by one of the 3 dogs living on the farm or one of the other 2 humans that's on the farm. But I wanted to go live because I wanted this to be unscripted and I wanted you to see me unedited, to have a bit of a conversation about who we are and what we do. So my name is Tanya Manovich. I have a horse farm here in the Northwest Panhandle of Florida, Bent Pines Farm. I have, 5 horses here and 2 donkeys, and I also have 3 dogs. We have some barn cats, but they're working cats that don't like humans. They're pretty feral, so you don't see them very often. And my goal with Bent Pine Farms, with the horse work that I'm doing, is really to focus on an area that gets very underrepresented in the current horse world. And that is addressing the gap between riding instruction and horse training. Once upon a time in the horse industry, people grew up around horses. People used horses in their everyday life. And now that horses are getting shifted, being used more for sport and pleasure than for work, we have very different a different world in the horse world, where the vast majority of people are adult amateurs. Most of them are women, and most of them have not grown up around horses. Most of them did not. There's a body of knowledge that they don't get in riding instruction, and they don't get from horse trainers that often those of us who grew up around horses take for granted. And it's, I would argue, the essence of what horsemanship is. I've sort of had this YouTube channel on the back burner for a couple of months, but have been really prompted, especially by the recent controversy regarding the Olympic equestrian sports, to really get out there and start working this, because I really think that it's important to improve horsemanship in the horse world as a whole, to improve education as a whole. Again, there's a body of knowledge that's getting very much lost. I even saw Olympic level riders whose saddles didn't fit properly. And can you do a proper saddle fitting from a picture? No. But I can tell you when something really doesn't fit and a horse is reacting to it. From a picture. There are things you can't tell from a picture, and then there are things you can. Many people in the horse world were very upset at the lower level of horsemanship that was being displayed by top level riders. And I think that's going to become more and more prevalent if we don't start focusing on horsemanship and education and providing those skills outside of just a classroom. So who am I? Again, my name is Tanya Manovich. I have been riding horses since I was 8. So that's a lot of years. I turned 50 this year. So I've been riding for about 40 years. I got my first job at 12, caring for a 40-stall horse farm one day a week in exchange for my riding lesson. I have been working at barns ever since. I have, so that was, I was 12, so turning 50 this year, so you can do the math on that one. I started teaching riding at 16, teaching beginner riding lessons at 16, which is really a big passion for me. I love working with people who are coming into the horse world and really giving them a strong foundation. Any great advanced rider will tell you that advanced riding is just better fundamentals. Right? It's just better basics. What you do on the ground is what you do over a fence, right? Really, I came out of the hunter jumper world, and what happens over the fence is like a second, whereas everything that happens before it and everything that happens after it is what makes up that 1 second. And it's all fundamentals. So I have a real passion for teaching beginners. That has changed drastically in the 40 years I've been involved with horses. It used to be that beginners were, anywhere from like 7 to 10 years old. Now beginners are very often anywhere from 35 to 55, and that's where the bulk of beginners are coming from now. They're people who are very passionate about horses, but when they run into a horse industry that doesn't give them the adequate information outside of a riding lesson, very often end up scared of what was a childhood dream. And that's where I come in. Hopefully, I come in before then where I can avoid that, but then maybe I do come in after that. So I have a few things that I like to specialize in. I am US Director for Equine First Aid International. What does that mean? I teach equine first aid. I teach Zoom classes, I teach actual clinics, and I also train instructors in the United States. The founder and Canadian director handles all of Canada, and I handle the United States. We have a program for level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 3 includes disaster preparedness. What is our Equine First Aid program geared to do? It's geared to give you what you need to know when to call the vet, to know how to keep an eye on your horse, to know when the danger signs are coming, how to provide better care so that you avoid any first aid incidents that are avoidable. A lot of instances of colic are actually avoidable. And that's it's not throwing blame on anyone. It's simply to state that there are a lot of things you can do to control whether or not that happens. And that's true for a lot of first aid incidents. Now, not all of them are preventable. Horses are prey animals, and sometimes they freak out and do things that we don't expect, and sometimes things just happen, right? Sometimes there's just acts of God involved. That being said, the more we know how to manage and care for our animals, and the more we know how to get those signs early, and the more we know about what information to provide to the vet while the vet's on the way there, the better job we can do of taking care of our animals. So that's really what the program is designed to do, to give you as much information as you can in being a responsible owner, in being a good detective, and figuring out when to call the vet, and then what you can do to assist the vet. Into disaster preparedness, very similar, right? We don't get into technical large animal rescue. That's for specialists. We get into knowing when to call the technical large animal rescue team, in knowing when you need help, and knowing how to get yourself to get give them what they need to make their rescue effective. Also, things you can do to hopefully prevent disasters. So that's one portion of what Bent Pines Farm offers. Another portion is I teach clinics to help people identify saddle fit issues, to help educate people's eye, to know when to call your saddle fitter. You're not going to learn how to fit a saddle, but you're going to learn how to look at a saddle and say, I think this fits, or I need to call a saddle fitter. Generally looking at your horse's body as they're moving under saddle to say, we have a problem. It's really more, again, about detective work and general knowledge, things that should be included in horsemanship. I also offer Rider Biomechanics clinics. I do teach a limited amount of horseback riding on people's farms, only in the Florida Panhandle. I do offer all of my services online in Zoom education. You will get some people that say you can't learn anything about a horse on Zoom. I call BS. The truth is, very often, horse people pay attention better when there isn't a horse in the room. So there's a lot you can teach. There's some things that need to be hands-on, but to people with basic knowledge, there's a lot you can learn online as well. Once upon a time, we used to read books a lot. I used to avidly read Practical Horseman and Horse Illustrated and any other thing I could get my hands on. I think I have read George Morris's Hunt Seat Equitation about 35 times and maybe more. I've had a few copies along the way. So there's a lot that you can learn on Zoom. So I do offer that. I am an integrative nutrition health coach. I am a certified life coach, master life coach, master spiritual life coach. And so I offer some help for adult amateurs who have been struggling with confidence issues. This happens a lot. I talk to a lot of adult amateur riders who they live their dream, they buy their horse, and then 6 months in end up terrified because they've had an accident or they've come close to having an accident. And my coaching services are designed to help you get through that, to get back to living your dream. I also talk to a lot of adult amateurs who have big dreams with their horses, have since they were little girls, but they're struggling to find the time for those things. They're struggling to set goals and achieve things along with a life of, maybe running a home and having kids, having a full-time job and a career. Wherever you are in life, there can often be some conflicting priorities, and you really still want to go after your dream. So I offer coaching for those as well. So that's just a brief introduction about me and what I offer here and what you'll be seeing on this YouTube channel. You're going to see a lot of those things here: first aid tips, riding tips, just general horsemanship. So I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll stick around. In upcoming videos, you'll get to see me outside with my 5 horses and 2 donkeys. And I hope you'll ask questions, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great day.